Hello, my name is Sierra Knight Magee with Knight Magee Insurance. We are an independent insurance agency here in Richmond, Virginia that started from scratch in 2011. Before I jump into the agency, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Started working at the age of 14. My best friend actually approached me because her grandparents were opening in a restaurant. My 18th year, I graduated from high school. It was a very confusing time for me. I was dealing with the grief of losing my dad and just wasn't really focused and motivated, and really didn't know where things were going to go from there. I was fortunate enough to had landed a management position at the restaurant that I started at 14. And so I was essentially running the day-to-day operations of the restaurant, and that was pretty much it. It was fall of that year that a friend had talked to me about, continuing my education, and I decided to start taking classes at a local community college. At that point, I was just working on an associate's degree, and started considering that my long-term plan was to become an attorney, and it would be a process. I'd start out as a paralegal, work on my undergrad, and eventually go to law school. And a lot of that stemmed from my upbringing and coming from a broken family. I thought I could become a guardian ad litem and make a difference. So it was right around my 20th birthday that I decided to leave the restaurant, and I took an opportunity with a local law firm. And it was a great opportunity. It was my first professional job. Unfortunately, though, the firm that I worked at was also very conservative, and that was challenging. I had been openly gay since the age of 15, 16 years old, and so it was just very claustrophobic to work in an environment where I felt like I couldn't be true to myself. At this point, I'm now working on my undergraduate studies part-time while working full-time, attending University of Richmond. I had a ton of student loans. Nobody financed my college. No one was paying for it. And then I was looking at the cost to go to law school, and it was daunting and intimidating. And so I figured if I was going to try something new, now was the time to do it. And I did. I applied to every sales position I could find. I think back then Monster was the go-to. And I applied to everything, anything and everything, as long as the tagline was sales. I was fortunate to land an interview at Liberty Mutual, and that was actually just by chance. Liberty Mutual had just held a job fair for recent University of Richmond graduates. And I had University of Richmond on my resume, but had not completed my studies there yet, and somehow the hiring manager missed that. So I landed an interview, and I'll never forget sitting in Chip McNamara's office. I think it was probably about 2 minutes into our interview that I said, "Oh, by the way, I'm a lesbian woman and I live with my partner." And I did that because it was so important to me that if I did this big move and changed my plan and went to another organization or company, it was going to be somewhere where I felt safe and comfortable. And we just hit it off from there. He told me his backstory and his upbringing. Our situations were very similar. Parents that divorced when we were young, having to work really hard for everything that you wanted. And he later offered me a job at Liberty Mutual, and I'm so glad I took him up on it. So when my wife and I, Kate was not my wife at the time, decided to start Knight Magee Insurance, we were both coming from different angles. I know for her, she was burnout. She had been working in corporate America much longer than me, and she was ready for something new, something exciting, something that she felt like she had control over. My experience was a little bit different, but in a lot of ways the same. I was starting to feel a little burnout because I was selling a product and service that wasn't tailored to everyone, but I was somehow having to force it to be tailored to everyone. I was also losing clients that I had built relationships with over a span of 4 or 5 years, just because of life changes. Maybe they had a ticket or an accident, or they added a 16-year-old driver. When I couldn't do anything about the price, I lost them to the independent agent just a half a mile down the road. And I knew if I wanted to stay in insurance long term and in the selling of insurance, I needed options. And that is where Knight Magee Insurance came from. Today, Knight Magee Insurance is a thriving company. We offer auto, home, life, business, and group health insurance. We currently have a team of 5, which includes myself, my wife Kate, and 3 licensed account managers. We've grown our business organically. A lot of independent agents hire producers and they throw them out there and hope that some of the business they write sticks. Kate and I have grown Knight Magee Insurance. When someone calls Knight Magee Insurance, it's because they've heard of Kate or Sierra. And that's not to discredit our team. We have a phenomenal team, and we have a retention rate of 98 to 99%, and that's because of our team. But from a branding perspective, our clients are calling us to buy from Sierra and Kate Magee. They know that we're consultative, they know that we're passionate, they know that we'll deliver, and you know, as much as I hate to say it, I think they like that we're women too. Our social media team tells us all the time that majority of our followers are women between the ages of 30 to 55. Most of the people that we're talking to, they're women. The decision makers, it's women. So, you know, we might seem like a minority in this business, but oftentimes I don't feel that way. I feel like that is the reason we are who we are today and where we are today. We're passionate about what we do. We are passionate about growing through new business, but we are just as passionate and diligent about retaining it as well. I realize today that the industry is still very male-dominated, but I think I add a different sort of take or perspective on that. Sure, when I go into a sales meeting, I'm often one of 3 or 4 women in the room, and rarely do I see a person of color. That absolutely has to change. At the same time, you know, I feel like a lot of our success has been the fact that we are a female-owned agency. And I think for Grange and any other corporation or insurance company out there, you too could benefit from promoting women, promoting minorities, because we're really paving and leading the way. Where I personally have encountered the most prejudice is, you know, not being gay myself, but maybe my advocating for the gay community. We were involved in Progressive changing their platform so that we could list a gay couple as married in the state of Virginia on their auto insurance. Although gay marriage had yet to become federally recognized, they changed that. They changed that so that if I had a couple that lived in Virginia that had gotten married in DC, I could indicate that they were married, which they were. So that was phenomenal. I don't know, maybe I'm an optimist. I can't really focus too much on the negative experiences. What I can say is I'm optimistic about the future. Sure, there's room for improvement. I would love to see more minorities and women in this industry. Which brings me to the most important part, my family. I told Jill in our first call that my family is #1 to me, and our clients know that. It's our brand. You know, they know me, Kate, and our son Liam. At the end of the day, although we're 2 women with a 7-year-old son, and maybe for some that seems out of the norm, in a lot of ways, I feel like our clients relate to us, and they relate to us because it's very easy to. We face the same challenges. We share similar stories, similar experiences. We're mothers, we're friends, we're entrepreneurs. And we need more of that. We need more of that as a community, on a corporate level. It goes a long way.